In a world swirling with challenges, where each day brings its own share of stress and uncertainty, is it possible to reach a state where nothing can disturb you? Imagine moving through life, calm and composed, even in the face of adversity. This is not about detachment from life's experiences, but about cultivating inner resilience that allows you to remain undisturbed by whatever life throws your way. Ancient Stoic philosophy, born over 2,000 years ago, holds powerful insights that can guide us on this journey. This approach isn't just a historical concept, but a way of living that can transform the way we approach each day. Stoicism invites us to view our world through a different lens, to ask ourselves meaningful questions. What if our peace wasn't dictated by external events? What if we could find strength not in changing circumstances, but in changing our responses? Imagine if we could face obstacles, not as sources of stress, but as tools for growth. By embracing these Stoic teachings, we learn to master our thoughts, find clarity amid chaos, and develop a profound sense of inner peace that radiates outward. The path to unshakable calmness is paved with 10 guiding principles, each one a step closer to mastering the art of inner tranquility. Stick with us through the entire video to unlock the most profound insights, especially the final one, which reveals a powerful tool that ties in all other principles. Now, let us begin our journey, one principle at a time. 1. Prioritize rationality over emotion. In moments of frustration or turmoil, how often do we act on impulse, letting emotions drive our decisions? This reaction is natural, yet Stoicism teaches us a different approach. Rationality, not emotion, is the anchor that keeps us steady in turbulent times. Rather than letting feelings dictate our actions, we can learn to pause, to think, and to respond with a calm mind. For, as Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, the wise man builds his house on the rock. This rock is reason, a foundation that neither storms nor misfortunes can shake. Imagine a situation where someone criticizes your work. The immediate response might be defensiveness or even anger. But what if you paused? What if, instead of reacting, you asked yourself, does this feedback contain something I can learn from? By allowing rational thought to lead, you transform potential conflict into a constructive moment. Stoicism teaches that reason brings clarity, while emotions often cloud our vision. Have you experienced this? Have you found yourself regretting words spoken in anger, actions taken in frustration? Consider another example, a stressful day at work when everything seems to go wrong. Perhaps a project didn't meet expectations, or a colleague's behavior grated on you. In these moments, we can feel the pull of stress, but Stoicism reminds us to pause, breathe, and evaluate. Ask yourself, will getting upset help me solve this issue, or would a rational, calm approach serve me better? The answer, more often than not, reveals that a clear mind is a powerful ally. In practicing this principle, we don't ignore emotions, but recognize them for what they are: temporary states that can either be given full control or respectfully acknowledged and then set aside. This balance, where emotions are observed but not followed blindly, is a hallmark of the Stoic approach. It's not suppression but mastery, where reason is the guiding star. Just as a steady ship can weather a storm with a strong anchor, so too can we weather life's emotional storms by anchoring ourselves in rational thought. Yet this mastery takes practice. Ask yourself, how might you approach tomorrow differently if you paused before each response? Could you create a daily habit of reflecting on moments where rationality could have changed your reactions? When we make reason our default response, we transform situations that once disturbed us into mere learning experiences. As we master this first principle, we prepare ourselves for deeper resilience. In the next principle, we'll explore the power of recognizing the disturbances we create within ourselves, often without even realizing it. 2. Avoid self-created upsets. How often do we create our own suffering? Think about it. Those times when we let minor annoyances spiral into larger issues, or when we allow one small setback to ruin an entire day. In Stoicism, we are encouraged to recognize that many of our disturbances are not caused by external events, but by our own perceptions. The Stoics taught that most of our suffering is optional, a product of our thoughts rather than actual reality. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imagine you're running late for an appointment and find yourself stuck in traffic. The irritation builds as the minutes tick by, thoughts churning about what could go wrong if you arrive late. But here, Stoicism asks us to pause and question, is this anger or worry helping you reach your destination any faster? Does stewing over a delay change the reality of the situation? When we recognize that our reactions are within our control, we reclaim our peace from these self-imposed disturbances. It's the same in daily life. A thoughtless comment from someone, a slight inconvenience, or a moment of disappointment can often set off a chain of negative thoughts. But what if instead we practiced awareness, asking ourselves, am I making this bigger than it is? When we pause to examine our thoughts, we often see that many of these frustrations exist only because we allow them to. Have you noticed this pattern in your own life? Reflect for a moment on a recent irritation and ask yourself, was the upset real, or did I make it worse through my reaction? The Stoic approach here is not to deny emotions or frustrations, but to see them clearly and understand their origins. When we do this, we find that much of what we perceive as troubling is rooted in our minds, not in the world itself. If we choose to let go of these unnecessary upsets, we lighten our mental load. Imagine the peace that comes from allowing small things to remain small, from recognizing when a minor event does not deserve our energy. Practicing this principle also means we become less vulnerable to emotional manipulation. When we recognize that our reactions are our own, we gain freedom from being influenced by others' actions or words. Someone else's bad mood or criticism need not disturb our inner calm. When we understand this, we can move through our days with a greater sense of equanimity, knowing that our peace is not something to be handed over to external forces. How would your life change if you stopped creating unnecessary troubles? If you no longer allowed minor inconveniences to rob you of joy and clarity? As you move forward, try observing your thoughts the next time you feel annoyed or upset. Ask yourself, is this truly worth my peace? This simple question is a powerful tool for cultivating mental resilience. Having explored the roots of our self-created disturbances, we can now move to the next principle, where we learn how to build and protect our inner sanctuary. 3. Cultivate inner peace. What is inner peace, and how do we achieve it in a world full of uncertainties and external pressures? Inner peace is not a state of blissful ignorance or detachment. Rather, it is a deep, abiding calm that remains unshaken by life's inevitable challenges. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot always control what happens around us, we can control our responses, creating a sanctuary within that remains untouched by external turmoil. As Epictetus, a great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Consider the image of a still lake deep within a forest. No matter how fierce the storm above, the lake remains calm beneath the surface, its depths undisturbed. This lake is a metaphor for inner peace. No matter how turbulent life becomes on the outside, cultivating inner peace allows us to retain clarity, patience, and strength on the inside. But how do we build such calmness? Stoicism suggests practices like meditation, mindful breathing, and reflection, which help ground us when external pressures arise. When faced with a stressful situation, we can pause, take a deep breath, and ask ourselves, is this something I can control? This simple question can diffuse the urgency of many stressors. If the situation is within our control, we can calmly plan a response. If it's beyond our control, we can let go and refocus our attention on what we can influence. Stoicism reminds us that inner peace comes from this conscious separation between what is within our power and what is not. Moreover, cultivating inner peace involves learning to be present. So often, we become anxious over what might happen tomorrow or frustrated by what happened yesterday. But, as Stoicism teaches, true peace can only be found in the present moment, the only moment where we truly have influence. Have you ever felt more anxious or unsettled simply because you were thinking too far ahead or reliving a past situation? When we anchor ourselves in the present, we find that many anxieties fall away, leaving space for calm. To start practicing this principle, dedicate a few minutes each day to quiet reflection. Spend time in stillness, noticing your thoughts and letting go of anything that does not serve your peace. You might try focusing on your breath, letting each exhalation release any tension you feel. This practice, though simple, can profoundly shift how you respond to life's challenges. What could be more powerful than facing life's storms with the calm clarity of the still lake within? As we build this sanctuary of peace within ourselves, we discover a wellspring of resilience, a space we can return to whenever life becomes overwhelming. This inner sanctuary is not something that others can disturb. It is a strength that we alone cultivate and protect. Imagine living each day with this sense of calm, knowing that no matter what happens externally, your inner self remains steady and at peace. Once we understand the value of inner peace, we are ready to engage in a deeper practice: daily reflection. This next principle is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and a powerful tool for personal growth. 4. Practice daily reflection. Have you ever paused at the end of a long day to ask yourself, what did I learn today? In the Stoic tradition, reflection is not only a tool for self-improvement, but a practice for cultivating wisdom and resilience. Daily reflection allows us to look back on our thoughts, actions, and reactions, helping us understand where we might have faltered, where we showed strength, and where we can improve. As Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, reminds us in his Meditations, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. By reflecting each day, we take ownership of our experiences and use them to shape a wiser, stronger self. In practicing daily reflection, we deepen our self-awareness. The practice could be as simple as asking, what did I do well today? What could I have done differently? Reflection allows us to identify patterns in our reactions, helping us understand what triggers us and why. Have you noticed certain situations that consistently disturb your peace? Are there moments where you reacted impulsively instead of with patience? By asking these questions, we uncover insights into our behaviors, making it possible to grow beyond them. Imagine keeping a journal where each evening, of only a few lines, you note key moments from your day. You might note a situation where you felt upset and reflect on what led to that feeling. What thoughts were you having? Was the response proportional to the situation? By reflecting, you'll start to see patterns emerge, empowering you to make conscious changes. This habit allows you to see yourself more clearly, to observe where you have control and where your reactions may need refining. Reflection also brings to light our virtues and where they need development. Are you practicing patience when challenged? Are you compassionate toward others, even on difficult days? When we reflect, we remind ourselves of the kind of person we aspire to be. and we check in to see if we're living up to that ideal. The purpose of reflection is not to judge ourselves harshly, but to learn from each experience, to treat each day as an opportunity for growth. Over time, this practice strengthens our sense of purpose and builds the resilience that keeps us calm amid life's uncertainties. Reflection need not be confined to moments of perceived failure. It's equally important to celebrate small victories. If you remained calm in a challenging situation, acknowledged someone's perspective, or took a moment to breathe instead of reacting impulsively, recognize these as steps toward inner mastery. Each positive action strengthens your inner peace, reinforcing the foundation of calm and clarity you're building within. Consider how your life might change if you took just 5 minutes each evening to review your day. What would you discover about yourself? What patterns would you uncover? By practicing daily reflection, you're not just going through life, you're actively growing within it, becoming more aware of your mind, your reactions, and your capacity for peace. This practice of reflection prepares us for the next principle, one that teaches us to embrace the natural ebb and flow of life with grace. 5. Embrace impermanence. Life is always moving, changing, flowing, much like a river that never stands still. The Stoics recognized this essential truth, that everything is in constant motion and nothing remains the same. This understanding is called the acceptance of impermanence. Rather than resisting change, Stoicism teaches us to embrace it as an inevitable part of existence. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." When we learn to see the impermanent nature of all things, we also learn to appreciate each moment for what it is. Consider the relationships, possessions, and even emotions that come and go throughout our lives. We often hold on to these things tightly, fearing their loss. Yet, in doing so, we create unnecessary suffering. Why do we cling to what cannot last? Why do we resist change when it is as natural as the passing of the seasons? Stoicism teaches us that when we accept the transient nature of life, we find a newfound freedom. We release the anxiety that comes from trying to hold on to what is beyond our control. Imagine a time in your life when everything seemed perfect, yet like all things, it changed. Perhaps it was a fulfilling job, a meaningful relationship, or a period of happiness. Over time, these moments shifted, sometimes subtly and sometimes drastically. While we may grieve these changes, Stoicism reminds us that clinging to them only deepens our pain. Instead, we can choose to be grateful for these experiences and let them go gracefully, allowing space for new opportunities, relationships, and moments to enrich our lives. This acceptance also extends to ourselves. Just as the world changes, so do we. Who we are today is not who we were a year ago or even a week ago. Embracing this growth without attachment to our past selves helps us become more compassionate and understanding individuals. When we allow ourselves to change, to evolve, and to accept that our thoughts, beliefs, and even our emotions are fluid, we create room for personal transformation. Have you allowed yourself this freedom? Or have you found yourself holding on to past versions of yourself out of comfort? Stoic philosophy, like the teachings of Jesus, encourages us to focus on what is eternal rather than what is temporary. "Man shall not live by bread alone," Jesus said, reminding us that life is more than material pursuits and fleeting moments. By nurturing values like wisdom, kindness, and resilience, we invest in aspects of ourselves that remain steady even as everything else changes. In practical terms, embracing impermanence means cherishing each moment without attachment. It means appreciating loved ones without fearing the day they may not be there. It means loving our work while understanding that roles and careers change. Ask yourself, can you see the beauty in change? Can you find peace in knowing that impermanence is the one constant? When we live with this awareness, we become more grateful, more present, and more resilient. Life's challenges no longer feel as threatening because we understand that even difficult times are temporary. With this perspective, every moment becomes an opportunity to learn and grow, to find meaning even in the briefest experiences. As we understand and accept the impermanent nature of life, we move closer to a calm, centered existence. Now that we have learned to embrace change, let us delve into the next principle, the art of letting go. This principle will help us further free ourselves from attachments that disturb our inner peace. 6. The art of letting go. Letting go. Two simple words that often feel incredibly difficult to practice. In Stoicism, letting go is not about giving up responsibility or becoming indifferent. It is about releasing the emotional grip on things that lie beyond our control. The Stoic philosophers remind us that much of our suffering stems from clinging to things that are impermanent, uncertain, or outside of our influence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "That which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." In other words, what disturbs our peace on a personal level often hinders the harmony of our lives as a whole. Consider for a moment something that has ended in your life, a relationship, a job, an opportunity you once cherished. How did you react when it slipped away? Did you find yourself holding on to it, replaying memories or regrets in your mind? Stoicism teaches us that clinging to things we cannot change or control creates unnecessary suffering. Letting go, on the other hand, liberates us, allowing us to open ourselves to new experiences and possibilities. Why keep carrying the weight of the past when it prevents you from fully embracing the present? In letting go, we practice an active choice. We choose to release the thoughts, attachments, or expectations that no longer serve our well-being. But how do we know what to let go of? Stoicism encourages us to ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, then holding on to it will only weigh down our spirit. This doesn't mean we become indifferent or careless. Rather, we learn to care deeply about what we can influence and release what we cannot. Letting go can be challenging, especially when it involves people we love or dreams we once pursued with passion. Imagine, for example, a relationship that has ended. The memories, the shared moments, the vision of a future that will no longer be, all of these things might tempt you to hold on. But consider this: by letting go, you free yourself to heal, to grow, and to welcome new relationships into your life. Holding on to what no longer exists only prolongs pain and prevents growth. The art of letting go is also about trusting in something greater than ourselves. As Jesus taught, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you." This wisdom resonates with the Stoic practice of entrusting what we cannot control to a higher power, whether it be nature, God, or the flow of life. This trust lightens our burden, freeing us from the need to control every aspect of our lives. The Stoic practice of letting go does not mean we abandon responsibility or become detached from the world. Instead, it means we accept what is beyond our control and redirect our focus to what we can influence, our own actions, thoughts, and attitudes. When we let go of the need to control outcomes, we allow life to unfold naturally, finding peace in the knowledge that we have done our part. Reflect on your life. Are there attachments you still cling to that no longer serve you? Are there worries about the future that rob you of today's peace? By letting go, you make room for freedom, for new opportunities, and for a mind unburdened by the past. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you released those weights you carry. Ask yourself, is it time to let go? 7. Don't suffer imaginary pains. Have you ever noticed how many of your worries never actually come to pass? How much of your distress is caused not by reality, but by scenarios you've created in your mind? Stoicism teaches that much of our pain and suffering is self-inflicted, born from fears and anxieties that exist solely in our imagination. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This principle encourages us to distinguish between real and imagined challenges, freeing ourselves from unnecessary worry. Think back to a time when you were anxious about something, a meeting, an exam, a social event. You may have replayed possible outcomes in your mind, building up a sense of dread. But when the moment finally arrived, was it truly as distressing as you had imagined? Often, reality is far less daunting than the fears we create. Yet, by allowing our minds to dwell on worst-case scenarios, we rob ourselves of peace in the present moment. In Stoicism, we are taught to question these imaginary pains. When fear or anxiety arises, we can pause and ask ourselves, is this happening right now, or is it just a thought? This simple question can help us break the cycle of worry. We gain clarity by recognizing that much of what troubles us is merely a construct of our mind, not a reflection of reality. How much peace could we gain if we let go of these baseless fears? Consider, for instance, a farmer who worries each day about the harvest. He imagines drought, pests, and countless other disasters, yet all this worry does nothing to help his crops grow. In the same way, we often create imaginary worries that add nothing to our lives but stress. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the present and address only what is real. When we stop investing energy in imaginary pains, we free ourselves to live more fully. This does not mean we ignore potential risks or challenges. Rather, we approach them rationally, without giving in to irrational fears. In fact, Stoicism encourages us to prepare for adversity without succumbing to worry. Instead of imagining all that could go wrong, we can prepare for what is within our control and let go of the rest. Ask yourself, is my mind creating fears that do not exist? How would my life change if I focused only on what is real? When we free ourselves from imaginary pains, we find a newfound sense of peace and clarity. We learn to navigate life with a mind that is clear and present, rather than burdened by baseless fears. This clarity allows us to face real challenges with strength and composure. Having let go of imaginary worries, we now turn to a powerful perspective that helps us find peace in the ebb and flow of life. In the next principle, we learn to stop magnifying minor troubles, discovering a lighter, more resilient approach to daily challenges. 8. Avoid creating unnecessary troubles. Life is filled with small annoyances, a thoughtless comment, a missed opportunity, a sudden rainstorm. Yet Stoicism teaches us that these minor troubles need not disturb our inner peace. Often, it's not the events themselves that upset us, but the way we react to them. Epictetus advised, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle encourages us to avoid magnifying trivial inconveniences, preserving our energy for what truly matters. Imagine you're on your way to an important appointment and find yourself stuck in traffic. Your first instinct might be frustration, anxiety, or even anger at the delay. But ask yourself, will getting upset help me reach my destination any faster? Will anger or worry change the situation? When we allow small frustrations to control our peace, we give away our power to external events. Stoicism encourages us to take back this power by choosing calm responses to minor inconveniences. Consider another example. A person makes a careless remark that bothers you. In such moments, it's easy to let irritation build. But Stoicism invites us to pause and reflect. Instead of reacting emotionally, we can ask ourselves, is this comment worth my peace? Many of life's disturbances are only as big as we make them. If we choose not to magnify them, they remain small, passing like a gentle breeze rather than a storm. Avoiding unnecessary troubles also means practicing patience and perspective. we can remind ourselves that every minor annoyance is temporary, a passing moment that need not define our day. By choosing to focus on what's meaningful, we keep our energy for challenges that truly deserve our attention. Have you ever noticed how much lighter you feel when you let go of trivial concerns? How freeing it is to let minor things remain minor. This principle is a powerful reminder that peace is often a choice. In every situation, we can choose to respond with grace rather than frustration. Life is too short to let small inconveniences steal our joy. By avoiding self-created troubles, we cultivate a resilient, joyful spirit that remains unshaken by daily challenges. As we learn to navigate life's minor troubles with a calm mind, we are ready to dive deeper into the core of Stoic wisdom. In the next principle, we'll explore how to focus on the how rather than the what, guiding us to approach life's challenges with purposeful actions rather than outcome-based anxieties. Stay with us as we continue our journey into Stoicism. 9. Focus on the how, not the what. How often do we become fixated on outcomes, feeling that happiness or success lies in achieving a specific goal? Yet, Stoicism teaches us that true peace and fulfillment are not found in the end results, but in the process, how we approach each what that life presents. Rather than stressing over what we achieve, we should focus on how we engage with our efforts, ensuring that each action aligns with our values and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "Do what you must, and let happen what will." By concentrating on our actions rather than the outcomes, we find a greater sense of purpose and calm. Imagine setting a personal or professional goal. It's natural to desire a particular outcome, but in Stoicism, we're encouraged to ask, am I approaching this task with integrity, patience, and diligence? When we prioritize the quality of our actions over the outcome, we liberate ourselves from the anxiety of success or failure. The goal becomes secondary to the joy of giving our best. Have you ever noticed how much more peaceful you feel when you focus on the process rather than the destination? Consider a challenging task or goal you're currently pursuing. Stoicism invites you to shift your mindset. Instead of worrying about whether you'll succeed, focus on how you are approaching the task. Are you putting forth effort with care and consistency? Are you staying present, giving attention to each step along the way? By immersing ourselves in the how, we allow the journey itself to be fulfilling, knowing that we've done our part regardless of the final result. This principle also teaches resilience in the face of setbacks. When we focus on our actions, we become less discouraged by failures or obstacles because we see them as part of the process. A missed opportunity or unexpected outcome becomes a lesson rather than a defeat. We ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? Stoicism reminds us that setbacks are not the end of the journey, but valuable experiences that guide us forward. The beauty of focusing on the how is that it allows us to approach each day with purpose and presence. We no longer feel as though we're waiting for something to make us happy or successful. Instead, we find meaning in the act of striving. Each day becomes an opportunity to cultivate virtues like patience, resilience, and kindness. By focusing on the quality of our actions, we create a life that is rich in purpose, regardless of the outcomes. Reflect on a current goal or responsibility in your life. What would change if you focused more on the process than the result? How would it feel to invest fully in each step, trusting that the outcome will be what it needs to be? As you move forward, try practicing this shift in perspective. By emphasizing the how over the what, you'll find a greater sense of inner peace, grounded in the joy of meaningful effort. Having discovered the power of purposeful action, we arrive at the final principle, one that brings together all the elements of Stoic wisdom. Join us as we explore the importance of prioritizing rationality over emotions. the cornerstone of maintaining inner tranquility. 10. Prioritize rationality over emotion. In moments of emotional turmoil, it's easy to let feelings like anger, frustration, or anxiety drive our decisions. Yet Stoicism teaches us that a calm and rational mind is our most powerful ally, especially in challenging times. Emotions, while natural, can cloud our judgment, leading us to actions we might later regret. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This final principle urges us to let reason guide us, to cultivate a mindset where rationality takes precedence over fleeting emotions. Imagine a situation where someone criticizes you harshly. The immediate response might be defensiveness or hurt. But what if instead you took a step back and asked yourself, is this criticism constructive? Is there something here I can learn? By choosing reason over emotion, you can respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This is the essence of Stoicism, to cultivate a mind that remains steady, even when emotions surge. This doesn't mean we ignore emotions or suppress them. Stoicism teaches us to recognize emotions as natural responses while refusing to let them dictate our actions. Emotions are like waves, they rise and fall. Reason, however, is like the steady ground beneath the waves, offering a stable foundation. Have you ever felt the difference when you approach a situation with calm reflection rather than emotional reactivity? How much clearer and more peaceful life feels when we allow reason to lead. Prioritizing rationality also strengthens our ability to make wise decisions. In moments of stress or uncertainty, taking a pause to let reason guide us can be transformative. Stoicism encourages us to ask, what is the most reasonable response? By doing so, we distance ourselves from rash reactions, cultivating a calm and composed mind. Imagine facing a frustrating situation, a traffic jam, a missed opportunity, a disagreement with a friend. Instead of letting emotions control your reaction, what if you paused, took a deep breath, and chose a response rooted in reason? As we practice this principle, we begin to notice that many of life's difficulties stem not from events themselves, but from the way we let emotions shape our response. A rational mind is like a clear lens through which we see the world more accurately, free from the distortions of anger, fear, or frustration. This clarity is the foundation of inner peace. Think about a recent experience when emotions took control. What might have changed if you had paused and let reason guide you instead? By choosing rationality, we make space for understanding, compassion, and wisdom. Over time, this practice becomes a source of inner strength, allowing us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. In prioritizing rationality over emotion, we come full circle in our journey through Stoic principles. Each teaching we've explored, letting go, embracing impermanence, focusing on actions, avoiding self-created troubles, leads us to this final truth. A peaceful mind is a rational mind, free from the storms of emotional reactivity. When we cultivate reason, we create a life of wisdom, calm, and fulfillment. As we conclude our journey through these 10 Stoic principles, we invite you to reflect on how these teachings can transform your life. Stoicism isn't merely a philosophy, it's a way of living that empowers us to face life with resilience, wisdom, and peace. Imagine a life where nothing can disturb you, where you remain calm in the face of any challenge, knowing that your peace lies within. If these teachings resonate with you, consider incorporating them into your daily practice. Which of these principles speaks most to you? How will you apply Stoicism to cultivate a life of unshakable calm? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share your reflections in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more insights, and share these timeless lessons with others who may benefit. Thank you for joining us on this journey into Stoicism. May you continue to grow in wisdom, strength, and peace.